Hi and welcome back. Now today's video wasn't planned. With everything going on in the news right now about Gabby Petito, I wanted to hop on and give some of my insights and thoughts. This has been something that's been very publicized nationally. We're seeing a lot on social media, people's opinions and views, and I just really felt that sharing my views might help some of you out there, or at least shed some insight. Now, this whole situation, because it's very public and well known, is something that's triggering a lot of people out there. I hear it when I'm in the store, when I'm at work, people talking about it and either relaying it to some of their own personal experiences or just flat out saying how it's so upsetting to them or how it's triggering them. I have been getting anxiety over it. I really thought that I was healed. It's been 3.5 years, and I thought that I could, get over that and not be as affected by it. I thought I was over my situation and healed, but I was very surprised at how it made me feel. It's almost like all those years hadn't gone by, and all of a sudden I'm thrown right back into my toxic relationship that I got out of like it was yesterday. And that was something that surprised me. I really, really thought that I was a little farther ahead than that. And then it kind of dawned on me that I don't think it matters how long you've been out of that relationship once that damage is done. I think that's something that you'll carry with you for the rest of your life. I think it matters how you deal with it, how you process it, and how you let it affect other relationships. I know a lot of you out there are being triggered, especially when we see the picture of Gabby in the car crying. The pain that's in her face, we could just totally put ourselves in her shoes. We know exactly the hell that she's been through. I couldn't even imagine traveling across the United States for several months, being in a car enclosed like that with somebody like that. That was actually with my ex, was one of my least favorite things was to get into the car with him, because if something was to go down, he knew he had me trapped in the car. It's not like, I'm going to jump out of a moving car. And even if, I did get out and was able to walk away, like where was I going to go? It's kind of like they have your undivided attention at that time. He definitely used that time to be able to lay into me. And I think that he even took longer driving around than what the drive needed to be, because, he was taking that opportunity to be able to, be abusive and get his needs met by, yelling. I can remember times stopping at stoplights, and he was so enraged that he was banging his fists, on the dashboard or the steering wheel, and, so embarrassed. And I would look over, and there would be someone, up pulled alongside of us, and they would just be looking like, oh my gosh, what's going on there? And he would just be screaming, and it got pretty crazy. I see, Gabby in that car picture of her crying, and it just brings back, all those memories, as I'm sure it does for a lot of you out there. I've been seeing a lot on Facebook about, educating women or girls early in life about, respecting yourself and feeling worthy enough to know that you don't deserve to be treated that way, and to draw healthy boundaries and to spot the red flags so that you don't even get into that relationship in the first place. And then I see those that are saying, well, forget about that. We should be, teaching our sons and boys to be not like that, and to be respectful and kind. I think that it's a very difficult dynamic that those that aren't in this situation would really have a hard time understanding. Now, yes, a lot of times it is men that are the abusers, but definitely it goes both ways. I think people that grow up to be abusive or grow up to be toxic, narcissistic, it happens because of their toxic family and upbringing and childhood that they've had. They don't know any better. So yeah, those parents aren't going to be instilling great behaviors in their children. And so the cycle just perpetuates, because then they grow up and then they're the same way. And then, they're abusive to their family, and then their kids grow up and they're the same way. And it's just a cycle that keeps going and going. I've also seen where you've got parents that are perfect parents and have done everything right, and they've got a kid that grows up and they're a handful, and they're rude and disrespectful, and they don't treat people nicely at all. A lot of research will tell you that does have to do a lot with your upbringing and the traumas that you faced when you were younger. But there's also a chemical part of that, a genetic part of that plays a part. And you can have a flat out sociopath or psychopath, and they could have been raised by wonderful parents, but still turn out to be that way. The fact of the matter is, everybody has a piece to play in this for sure. But I think we can do a better job with educating our children to value themselves and not accept that type of behavior. I believe, and from what I've seen from research and talking to a lot of women out there specifically, that because of how they were raised, they felt that they had to endure low levels of abuse, something here and there, and something that wasn't so bad. And they tolerate the little stuff, but then before you know it, it escalates over the years, as we know. We often are seeking love and validation, and maybe some of us are codependent. For whatever the reason, we don't put a stop to that behavior. And we need to look at ourselves as to why we're allowing that behavior. There's a lot that goes into this. There's a lot of dynamics involved. And it's not as easy as just saying, walk away. Oh, Gabby should have walked away if he was treating her badly. Us that have been in these situations know that that's a very hard thing to do. One, you don't want to escalate the situation and have your abuser be more upset with you. Two, there's a part of you that kind of still needs that person, because they do give you something. It may be a little bit, but they do give you some of that, I don't even know if you would call it some security, love, companionship, somebody else that's there so you're not facing things alone, whatever it is. But there is something that they do give you that makes you stay, or makes you think that they could be better, they could do better. And before you know it, the bad far outweighs the good. The takeaway from this is that, here we have this beautiful young woman who had a bright future, who seemed to have, her life together and knew where she wanted to go. But however she got involved with Brian, she got sucked into a relationship that she couldn't get out of, or maybe she was planning to get out of later when she got home. I mean, we'll never know all of that and the dynamics. But it just goes to show you that there are so many people out there that are suffering some type of abuse. And, on social media, you would have thought they were a happy couple. Great pictures and videos, and, their travel blog and everything looked great and hunky-dory. But beneath the surface, it wasn't. And this was national, so everybody's, national news, everybody's hearing about it and learning about it, which on one hand is good that we're getting awareness out there. And there have been other cases in the news as well of similar situations. It's always a good thing to have awareness when there's something national like this and well known. It's gives us the opportunity to be able to teach and to be able to process our own pain and hurt and be able to see that we're not alone. There are so many out there that are going through the same thing as we are. We need to learn from this situation because you never know how far your abuser will go. Now, it's not a very common thing. You know, it's not like saying, oh, all narcissists will kill you. I think that's more of the psychopath realm to take it that far, though, you know, we've all probably seen instances where in the heat of the moment somebody just slips and does something. It's hard to say. We'll never know what really happened and what happened right before her death. But this is a takeaway, and it is a wake-up call. If you're in an abusive relationship, you never know how far that person is willing to go, and things can definitely escalate, especially if there's a lot of stress. That's usually, from my experience, when things got out of hand, is when it was during a time of stress. You know, there were money or something going on in life, and that person isn't able to cope with it, and so they kind of lose it and don't have any self-control. That's the time when they're going to fly into rages. If we ever sit here and think, oh, you know, my husband, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, my wife would never do something like that, you don't know. You don't know. And it's definitely better to be safe and to try to get away from that situation. The last video I made, you can check it out, was how to make a plan and how to get away. It's all been very timely with the new videos that I've been making, talking about abuse and are you in an abusive relationship, and should you get away, and if you do make a decision to get away, how would you do that? How would that look? It's very timely now, you know, especially because of this situation that is so publicized. Anyways, I just wanted to hop on and kind of talk about my feelings. It is something that, for one, definitely triggered me. I've been more anxious than normal, just thinking about it, hearing everybody talk about it, and I can put myself in her shoes. I know what she must have gone through. I really do, and I think it really takes somebody that's been in that situation to truly understand the heartache that goes along with that. It's a shame. It really is a shame that, you know, we have a society that perpetuates this, that sides with the abuser sometimes, and where things are swept underneath the rug. Anyways, those are my thoughts. That's all I've got for now.